Okay, I'm just going to give another quick video tutorial on just a set piece. I'm going to just call it option 2 that we're going to use probably this year for our high school rugby team. Anyways, basis of this play, like a lot of different plays, you don't need to run a lot of plays, but you have to understand the options of those different plays, and then you have to have backs running good lines and your 10 making good decisions. So basically, the way we're going to kind of pre-set up this play, as you can see, the 13 is out wide in this formation. 15 is also out wide, just a little slightly back of the 13, and then a little bit on the inside there. And our 14 is starting to kind of creep over and cheat over a little bit. So this play kind of basically starts out with obviously a pass from the 9 to the 10. And then from there, we run a switch line between our 10 and our 12, and so we have a switch line here, we have our 10 running here, and then our 12 breaking off of that. It is an option to give the switch obviously pass to the 12 here, but probably I would say that's a low percentage of the time that we're going to give that pass, maybe 10% of the time, just to keep teams honest. Really what we're trying to do here is hold the 10 and the 12 with this switch line. And kind of hopefully exploit this space here as our kind of first, where we're really trying to exploit right from the start. So we have that switch line. So if I kind of run from here, we end up in a scenario where now, if you notice, while the switch was happening, just kind of showing the pattern of where these guys are coming. The 10's gone there, the 12 has come across here, and then we had the weak side or blind side wing or 14 here coming across, and the idea is that hopefully he's popping through this gap by holding the 15 wide. Hopefully the opposing 15 doesn't see that quick enough, and we have obviously that space in here that we want to expose and get through. The other hope is that we don't have that blind wing trying to fill in here. If we find that these two players right here, 15 and 11, are trying to get up into this space, then obviously we need to have a 10 that's going to prevent them from doing that by testing them with a kick just a few times, just to keep them honest. Generally the back three are going to be thinking a lot about that kick option, and so probably won't be able to close this gap here very quickly. So that's the first option there, is once we have that 10-12 switch, hopefully it freezes these two players. Hopefully we have 13 out here wide, holds their opposing 13 here, marking up there, and the 15 hopefully is back, either kick defense, or kind of taking a look at that 15 out there is kind of that hope. Now the objective here from this stage on is simply, we hope we get that ball through this gap here, and then obviously if the 14 can move to that gap, we need to make sure by the time he gets to the 15, or even possibly at 11, that we have support runners on either side when we get to that second level. So I probably have the 10 on one side, and then the 13 on the other would break away on that other side, and then it's just a simple 3-on-1. Choose the right option, and we should be scoring, hopefully in that second line once we get to that second line. It is important to note that support position though once we get through there. So just going back, so that's kind of your first option. I'd say that's our primary option. We want to expose this gap whenever we can, but that's going to be a read based on the 10. The second thing, second option would be again, and that's probably your primary read for your 10 in this play, is the 13. Is the 13 playing inside and trying to close that gap with that blind side winger coming, or is he hanging out wide here? Now, probably a good way to defend this would be that 13 coming in to take that 14, not letting himself get so wide, and then the 15 coming up here. So if the 15 is late though, and the 13 decides to go inside here, then we want to make this pass here outside to the 13, and we get a similar scenario where we're exposing that gap here. So just taking a look how that would look. If that 13 decides he's playing narrow, then we're going to go to this second option here, and now we're exposing this gap here. And then of course what we want to see happen is that 13 busting through, and then a similar scenario, 15, he's probably going to end up one-on-one against the 15, and at that time we should have either the 15 or the 11 as a support on the outside, and then we should have probably our 14 at that stage should be supporting here, and then again we have that kind of 3-on-1 scenario, and then the second level that can go inside or outside, and hopefully we're scoring there once we get to that second level against the 15. So that's option number 2. Kind of our third option on this play. Maybe not as likely, and also nice thing about having your 15 back here is a little bit of a cleanup job too. If there's a missed pass that kind of hits the ground or whatever, 15 can kind of pick that up. But our third option is obviously going to be here, where we want to, if they're marking well in this gap here, if the 15 is coming up to mark, then what we want to see happen is this option here, where we hit that pass behind, that kind of drift line or a bit of a blocker line behind the 13, who's 13's taking a little bit more of a flat ball there. So as you can see here, this is a little bit more of a, he hits that drift line behind there, and then hopefully what we have from there, 11 is going to be coming maybe across late, and hopefully we have that 15 and 11 with a 2-on-1 against their winger, and then obviously they'll have to take ball at some point, and hopefully we're through on try time on the outside there. So just a quick review of that. I think that that's pretty clear where the different options are. Like I've said before, it's pretty straightforward. We want to have lots of options off one play, be able to execute those different options, and then leave it to your 10 to make the right decisions. And so in this case, just quick review, we get that pass to our 10, we have a switch line between 10 and 12, and then really the 10 makes the choice whether they want to pass here, here, or in behind here, based on the different options that they have. If this play isn't working, probably what we need to do in order to kind of keep the defense honest, if everything's coming up in that back line and trying to match our numbers, then obviously we need that 10 popping a little couple kicks over and kick and chase, and then we can put pressure on them with the kick and make them defend the kick a little bit better so this play does work. Anyways, pretty simple option there. Another good opportunity for a set piece back play. Talk to you later.